almost like as if I have multiple people. Let's say one personality in university years really wants to study hard to get the good grades, and there is another personality who would like to go out and would like to party. And it's so interesting because those personalities, they almost have conflicting interests, and they would do conflicting actions even though it's within one person. Welcome everyone to LifewithLiza podcast. Our mission at LifewithLiza is to share people's stories and the challenges that they have overcome, so those who are listening in can get the strength, the courage, and the hope to be their better selves. Welcome to this special edition episode. I'm so happy to have you here. Thank you for investing your time and energy into learning new things, becoming better, and I cannot be more grateful for your trust and for you being here. So today I wanted to touch upon a very interesting topic. I am currently reading this book which is called The Body Keeps the Score, and it's called one of the best books on mental health, and it's written by this Dutch psychiatrist who has spent a lot of time working with people who've experienced trauma, PTSD, etc. And he there also mentions so many different methods that are quite useful just in general to improve our mental health. And one of the things that I found fascinating, so obviously he was mentioned there some basic things as doing yoga, doing sports, doing breathing, etc. But one of the interesting things that he mentioned was this idea that actually we have a few personalities or a few personas in our mind, and as our bodies are these beautiful ecosystems that are coexisting with multiple parts, but at the same time our minds also have these different personas that are coexisting together and are also this kind of ecosystem. And sometimes the problems come when we have one part of our personality kind of overpowering everything else. And it was fascinating to me because once I read it, because I always felt like I have different personalities, and almost like as if I have multiple people. Let's say one personality in university years really wants to study hard to get the good grades, and there is another personality who would like to go out and would like to party. And it's so interesting because those personalities, they almost have conflicting interests, and they would do conflicting actions even though it's within one person. And that I had the thought for the longest time, and it was very interesting because I feel like we are all versatile and we have all of these different components, and it's nice to know that it is normal to have them, and it's just to realize what kind of personality have taken that action or is picking up at this moment, or what is going on whenever something happens. Because sometimes when you are your angry personality, you can say some hurtful words that angry personality actually means, but the rest of you actually doesn't mean. So it's very interesting to become aware of them, because once you become aware that you do have these different parts of self, you also start gaining emotional mastery, and you can control and influence those personalities. And then maybe next time you don't say those hurtful things because you realize, oh, okay, I'm now in my anger personality, in my angry state, and you become aware of that, and you know that is just a momentary thing when you embody that personality and you don't truly mean those words, and you can stop yourself from saying them because you realize that that's something that will not benefit you as a whole, as a person. And it's very interesting because something that Jordan Peterson was also saying about depressed people is when if you have quite a balanced neurochemistry and you're not depressed, whenever something happens, whenever you make a mistake, you can very easily compartmentalize it. Oh, I just made a mistake, and this mistake does not define me. Doesn't overtake my whole personality. Bringing it also to this multiple personality example, because basically some part of me just made that mistake, but it doesn't define me. It doesn't mean that all I ever do is mistakes, because you never forget that there are also other parts who have had some successes in life and stuff like that. Whereas when a depressed person actually makes a mistake, they feel like they becoming that person, that part of them that always makes mistakes, and they just basically lose the perspective that that's just only one part of them, and they feel like all I ever do is doing a mistake, all I ever do is turn out to be a failure. And that's why the problem comes when you start exaggerating the role that one part of your personality, one part of you plays, and you feel like you're always like that, and you start forgetting about all of these other parts of you that kind of coexist in this ecosystem together. And that's very useful to know, because once you start noticing that you're becoming maybe too negative in your life, you can see, are you just exaggerating one part of you that's doing something, and you feel like that's all of you all the time, and it's very big exaggeration that leads to all sorts of problems. And that's why now I really like knowing this and also tapping in, because getting this self-awareness is so important, because then I can tap into basically that personality. What is the personality trying to achieve? What is it scared of? What does it want? And then I can see it and understand it and approach it almost with compassion, and then but still act in the interest of me as a person as a whole. I hope you do enjoy this description, and I hope you don't think that I have like a multiple personality disorder. I hope I don't, but I just think it's very interesting, because all of us have these different personalities, and sometimes we're even surprised, like, oh, I didn't expect that I would do that, or I didn't expect that I'd say that, or this was so not me. It's interesting that we have these situations in our lives, but they come from us having these different personalities, different parts of us that are integrated together. And I hope that this video shed some light on this, if you ever felt like you have different personalities inside of you, and it also shows you that that's completely normal. And if you don't like how you act as one of your personalities, or you don't like what you say or how you treat other people, you can always know that in order to address it, you can always become more aware of that thing happens, and at the same time ask yourself questions that can ground you in the present moment, and just kind of look back at your behaviors, understand it better, when it happened, why it happened, and which kind of personality you were, so that in the future you can act differently and you can choose something that would be better for you as one person as a whole, than just like for that one personality that's angry and wants to say those hurtful words. You're like, oh no, I will regret that afterwards, I should not say that. I just use the anger example because I feel like that's one of the easiest, and all of us, and those who say they have never had that situation are just lying, that they have never said something that they did not mean and then regretted it. I feel like all of us have had that. And that's what makes it such a great example. So I do hope this gives you some better understanding of this, also how to approach it, and having this mental clarity and mental awareness, practicing mindfulness is so important. So that's why practices like mindful breathing or meditation are so helpful, because they actually help you ground yourself in the present moment. Whenever those situations arise, you become so much more aware. I definitely noticed a big difference for myself when I started meditating. I started meditating quite some time ago, and I started noticing a big difference on me being just more calm in general, and I can act quite well under stress, and just becoming more and more aware. Hope you did enjoy this episode. I hope all of your many personalities that you have in you are happy with this information. Maybe only the rebellious side is not happy. And I hope it's useful for you. It's a very interesting thought. I was very happy to read it in this mental health book, and I thought, let me share my thoughts with the world on that. And if you did like this video, and if you watched so far, please make sure to subscribe to this channel if you haven't already, and I see you in the next episode.